I played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff. The motion and stuff was really, really on point.
You feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Week number 10 here tonight. The SCT Truck Series live on VSPEED. And from the virtual Michigan International Raceway, it's the All-Star Customs 200 here tonight. I'm your host, Bradley Cooper, and here tonight we've got a very loose setup. Starting up on the pole, you've got the number 8 machine of Sean Langton. Hopefully got all of the computer problems sorted out because of that dominant performance he was having at Lime Rock. And a great race last week at Pocono, putting it all together. Sean Langton starting to come to season here as one of the fan favorites to possibly win this championship. But as we sit here trackside looking at Michigan Raceway, 2-mile oval, and we'll be going for 100 laps here tonight in race number 10. 200 miles, and the setup very loose. Got out there and practiced with these boys in pre-race. Low line, high line, doesn't really matter. Once you're in traffic, it seems like anybody taking air off that rear spoiler is going to cause a loose condition. So we might see some cautions here early until these guys can get spread out after green flag pit stops. If they can make it to that point, I feel like the track is very drivable, but in traffic, in the draft, it's going to be a handful after about 3 or 4 laps. We might see some of these guys have problems. But let's take you down trackside now and get your grid presented by Bald Head Island Vacations. Again, that pole award going to the number 8 of Sean Langton as they get set to go around this racetrack. The number 8 with a beautiful lap time. Let's bring that grid up there on your screen now. 39.671 for the number 8, and Kyle Stewart going to start on his outside. In the next row, Nicholas Pressey with Richard Holland in 4th. Next row belongs to Brian Hennings with Morgan Cook in 6th. 7th spot, Trenton Collins, Justin Ritchie in 8th. 9th, Garrett Helmlinger with Cody Williams rounding out the top 10. 11th spot, Nick Gardner with Todd Cleveland in 12th. 13th, Kobe Collins, Rick Fagon in 14th. 15th, Jimmy Socks, Wade Palmer in 16th. 17th, Frank Zingen, John Buell in 18th, and rounding out that top 20, you've got Teresa Spiker and Benjamin Richards. 21st is Dakota Floyd with Jacob Daniels, 22nd, 23rd, David Collins, Randy Saleh sponsoring tonight's race with the All-Star Customs logo, and French shop, we've got Randy Saleh in 24th. 25th, Cole Jarrett with Chris Maxon, 26th, 27th, John Sanu, Justin Mullins, 28th, and rounding out that 30-car field here tonight is Riley Laverne and Ross Phillips. So pace car gonna pull off this time by as we get set to go green at Michigan International Raceway. Race number 10 about to be underway. Pace truck pulls off, and we're live and racing for race number 10 at Michigan. And a lot of 3 wide action as the number 94 of Nicholas Pressey is going to lead lap number 1. Timing is scoring a little bit broken here with the order, but we've got 30 cars out here tonight. Nicholas Pressey going to lead lap number 1. And a bunch of cars back here, 3 wide, as they come down the backstretch. Down to the inside here for the 12 of Cody Williams. He's trying to get by the number 16 of Nick Gardner. He will clear him down the front stretch. Just behind them, Morgan Cook. As they go into turn 1. A little bit of 3 wide in 5th place. Sean Langton, who started up on the pole, falls back just inside the top 5. He has teammate Kyle Stewart there on the inside. Richard Holland just behind them. A lot of shuffling still going on back here. From 10th back to 15th. 3 wide down the backstretch. There's the 01 of Jimmy Sox looking to the bottom. Very loose down there on the very bottom. You see the 24 of Dakota Floyd have to chase it down the track to catch it. And there's still 4 wide down the front stretch. And that's Teresa Spiker going around in the 70. And that's the first caution on lap number 4. Let's take it back on the instant replay and find out what happened to the 70 truck. Looks like Ross Phillips get to the outside. They were taking him 4 wide there. So back it up a little bit longer here as they come out of the exit of turn 4. You see Phillips gets up there on the outside. There's a truck blinking. That's a 29. Yeah, Phillips was there, and Spiker just came up a little bit. Let's go on board with the 5. That angle really not doing it justice. Let's do it out of 4. So that brings out caution number 1 of the night. On lap number 4. I doubt we have any takers down pit road. I know the tires are loose and things get heated up, but I think that the tires are what they are here tonight. You're going to have that immediate fall off of about 4 or 5 tenths within 5 laps. And as the run progresses, this thing's going to get looser and looser. Hopefully these guys can spread out. We were just about at that threshold where being loose and running on the bottom was going to be a little dangerous, and you still saw 3-4 wide. 10th place on back. Let's see if there's any takers down pit road. I don't believe there will be. Maybe the 51, Morgan Cook. He's going to bring it down pit road. So by himself, the 51 down into the pits. And now a few other takers. Ross Phillips coming down. Looks like the 29 of Wade Palmer. The 9 of Benjamin Richards also in. The 10 of Rick Fagone. And the 62. Frank Zengen coming in as well. So maybe a product of these guys think, hey, the 2-lap advantage that can make for a little run here. But with 30 trucks on the field, it's going to be tough to get back up there to the front. You saw Ross Phillips, the points leader, starting all the way in the back of this field here tonight. Tough break for him. I would have to venture to say that starting that far back is going to be difficult to navigate all this traffic. So there's the 94 of Nicholas Pressey, and we can pull him up into the broadcast booth, get a quick word with Nicholas. If we can find Nicholas in the, not seeing the 94 in Discord right now, so no interview. Okay. Well, you're leading the race, Nick. Could have had an interview, buddy, but you forgot something. Starting up on his outside. is the number 4 of Trent Collins. We can pull him up here. Trent Collins, it's Bradley Cooper in the VSPEED booth. Do you got a copy?
Yes, sir. How are you?
Great. See you out there on the outside row. It looks like it's handling pretty good. I know it's very loose here tonight, so it's going to be a handful after a couple laps. What do you got in store for us, starting on this outside?
I'm hoping the outside doesn't perform like it did on that first restart.
Yeah, it's tough to be up there, but I think in the long run, based off what we saw in practice, it's probably going to come in on its own, and you'll be able to make some passes up there. Hopefully we can get some green flag racing.
Hopefully we get you a good race up there.
Yeah, it's looking good so far. 4 wide for 4 laps, but good luck out there tonight, Trenton.
Awesome. Thank you, sir.
So number 4, Trent Collins. And it's going to be a handful. I know that these guys are going to struggle here tonight. Just a matter of getting that long green flag running. Can we do it with 30 trucks out here on the racetrack? VSRL, the SCT Truck Series, has surprised me at several different venues this season, and there were 10 races in. Let's see if we can do it. Nicholas Pressey going to lead him into turn 1 with Trent Collins, Kyle Stewart, Brian Hennings, and Sean Langton, the top 5. Pace truck pulls off, and we go back racing for the second time today. Back up to speed, and Pressey hits the loud pedal. We're back underway. Green flag is out. And not a good restart here for the 4 of Collins. He's 3 wide now with the 41 of Stewart on the outside. Langton right up on the back bumper. He's able to clear and get the run on the outside of Brian Hennings, who actually has to dodge him a little bit down this back straightaway. On board here with the number 74. He's in the 3rd position, up from 5th. And there's still chaos down the front stretch, 3 wide behind him. Back here to Dakota Floyd, yellow flag is out. And I'm not exactly sure. I think it might have started with the 5 of Phillips. He has heavy damage on the front end. You'll see him here in the middle, down the back straightaway. The 29 blinks out for just a moment. And then some more 3 wide. He crowds. It comes across the nose of the 51. So, rough start to the race here for the 5. Get back one more time. And get a blimp camera on that. The 29 up into the side of him. They were 3 wide. The 5 of Phillips had maybe a little bit of room there into 3, but the 29's got to hold his stuff down there. He was blinking out too, having some connection issues. Really don't have a great camera angle of this, but it looks like the 29 does come up. So that's on the 29 there for that incident. Phillips having a rough day. He's down on pit road now, trying to get that truck repaired. So we kind of predicted that it was going to be a rough start to this race here tonight, but we'll have to wait and see what happens in the later stages. Hopefully we can get a long green flag run. Some of these drivers sticking with their strategy on how long they're going to stay out. 80% fuel here tonight. Just have to wait and see how many drivers want to bring it down pit road. We have a few other takers coming down. Rick Fagone's going to top off with some fuel. Looks like David Collins also in there. Chris Max came into pit road. 121 machine. Teresa Spiker also entering the pits. But ultimately, it's Nicholas Pressey. He's led 9 laps here tonight after taking over the lead on lap 1 away from Sean Langton, who's fallen back to the 4th position. You're watching the SCT Truck Series live on VSPEED. We're going to take a quick commercial break for the All-Star Customs 200, and we'll be back right after this.
I played a couple of simulators and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Back here live, the All-Star Customs 200 at Michigan International Raceway, as they come to known as, and Motor Speedway. It all works, it all fits the same, but we're getting ready to go back green for the third time here tonight. Nicholas Pressey going to lead him into turn one. Trent Collins on the outside, and we're back live in racing for the third time tonight. Already onto a great start. Pressey pulls out over Collins by about 0.4 of a second, and the 4 has his hands full with Sean Langton all over the back bumper as they go into 3 and 4. Well, you keep an eye on the steering wheel here tonight. In traffic, this thing's going to get really loose, and on that back bumper, you see Langton giving him a shove down the front stretch. Let's see how he handles it going into 3 and 4. This truck going to get really loose. All the way down to the bottom now as Langton starts to manipulate the handling of the truck in front of him. And a good move there. Langton actually going to get a big run, trying to take that momentum down to the bottom as they head down the backstretch into 3. I've been informed that the 94 Pressey is using a controller here tonight. And that'll be interesting. As you see the 8 chasing it down the track a little bit there, side by side, still with Collins for the second position. Lots of racing going on back here from 12th, 13th position. All side by side. Even there's more side by side with Nick Gardner and the 24 of Dakota Floyd. That is for the 7th spot. Gardner up 4 positions where he began this race and maybe going to lose a spot. He's up there on the outside. That is the preferred line on the exit of these corners. Boy, is it going to be tough. These guys already looking loose. You can see the pinch down there by the 16. The 24 staying on the bottom, holding his line. They're going to come out of 4 nice and smooth. And hey, we got a green flag lap in. Side by side back here with Justin Ritchie for 12th. That's Jimmy Socks on the outside. Starting to single file out a little bit here in the top 10. You see the 15 of Kobe Collins trying to find his way around. A little contact behind them. John Sanu gets knocked out of the groove all the way down to the bottom of the racetrack. Slight brush with the wall, but one hell of a job to keep that truck in shape. He comes back out on the racing surface a little bit under speed here. He's going to have to be careful. The whole storm of trucks come around. Let's go back on the instant replay and take a look at that. They're still trying to dodge him. So this is into 1 and 2, and let's see if we can get a blimp camera on this. Does it look like the 88, the 15, It was the 88 of Cole Jarrett. They got contact and then more contact. The 88 does a phenomenal job as well, but John Sanu went for one heck of a ride. Let's go on board with him here. Just a slight little touch. That's not going to do much of that truck. He should be back up to speed here. So the 86 has more work to do, but the battle for the lead is starting to heat up. Nicholas Pressey starting to get a little bit loose here as he exits turn 2. Over the back of the 94. Not a good exit to turn 2, so that's going to allow the 8 of Langton to go to the inside. Let's see if he can complete the pass. Looking like he will as he bears it down to the bottom in 3 and 4. How about the 4 of Collins? Trenton Collins doing a great job. Langton very loose there on the exit. Scoots it up the racetrack quite a ways, but he's able to get back where he started. And Nicholas Pressey falling back to the 2nd position. The first lap led there for the 8. Pressey going to try to bury it, but chasing it down the racetrack again. And Brian Hennings now into the top 3. And you're going to watch this high line come in as this race progresses. You're going to see drivers up near the wall. The 94 Pressey very loose here in the top 3. He's all over the place and now loses a couple more spots as Trenton Collins and Brian Hennings go by. Pressey driving with the controller here tonight. You can tell the feedback isn't there. That truck very loose there on the outside. Now shuffles in line into the 4th spot, but it's only a matter of time. I think Pressey's going to lose control here without feedback on those hands, not knowing when that truck's snapping free. Richard Holland up to the outside. The 94 of Pressey all the way to the bottom. He's going to chase it up the racetrack. And now the 18 of Holland going to go to the bottom. Takes it all the way down the front stretch. You've got what appears to be the 16 of Nick Gardner working his way up through here. There's a lap truck in between. I believe that's the 707 of David Collins. He had a little problem there. Had to come down pit road. These drivers single filed out all the way back to about the 17th position where we find a battle between Garrett Helmlinger, who's driving that machine tonight, taking over for Thad Miller in a substitution. Currently in the 17th spot. As you can see, running a little bit 3 wide. We've completed about 10 laps now as we went back green. 5 of Ross Phillips back out on the racetrack. He has scored as 1 lap down here after that heavy damage. So Brian Hennings up to 2nd position. Richard Holland making a pass for 3rd on the 4 of Collins. Riding on board now with the number 18. And he can't quite get clear of the 4 who's running up on the outside. You see Pressey, who's fallen back to 5th. He's had that handling condition with the lack of input there. That immersion and that feedback can make all the difference as we ride on board with the 94. Get an idea. He's shuffling back and forth, and it's incredible that he's even driving this thing with a controller, because that is difficult. And you can see the inputs there from the controller, scrubbing the speed off on the exits of the corner. It's going to be very tough for the 94 to complete that run. All over the back bumper of Nick Gardner is the 41 of Kyle Stewart as they go by the 707. Gardner has a peek to the inside. The 41 takes it all the way to the bottom, and the 707 getting very loose there into 1 and 2. A scatter of trucks moving all over the place. Ross Phillips dives to the bottom. Tried to be the first truck a lap down. He'll go by 3 wide there in the middle. Battle's still raging on up here up front. Langton gets very loose coming out of 4. Hennings on the outside. Langton very, very loose out of 4. Let's go back and watch that. And from that angle, it doesn't look as bad, but Langton chased it all the way up to the outside line. He does get a good run, but these drivers started to get a run on the inside, and now Richard Holland got to the outside of Trent Collins, still battling down the backstretch here as they head into a 3 and 4. So Brian Hennings taking over the lead on lap 25. First lap led here for the 74 as he started in the 5th position. Strong performance, but getting very loose there as they exit turn 2. Might be overdriving it just a little bit as Langton goes back to the inside in 3 and 4. Quarter of the way into this race. We've had 2 cautions and 2 lead changes, about to be our 3rd now as they come across the line. Now the 4 of Trent Collins diving it down to the inside for 2nd position. 3 wide behind him though. You've got Nick Gardner, Dakota Floyd, and Kobe Collins. They were 3 wide coming out of 2. Nicholas Pressey has fallen all the way back to 9th position now. On board with the 41 of Kyle Stewart. He was working the outside of Richard Holland there for 4th. You can see these drivers chasing it up the racetrack. It is very loose, and you can see that in the way that these guys are exiting. The exit speed for some moments on the outside look really good, and then other times, not so great. The 41 diving it now to the inside of Richard Holland for 4th. Is he going to be able to complete that pass? The 18 probably going to have a good run here. The 74 gets a little loose in contact there with the 41. He falls back. The 24 going to take him 3 wide into 3. Very close there with the 16 of Gardner. Let's go back on the instant replay and see. I think the 41 might have gotten shoved down a line here. So here he is coming off of turn 2. Holland on the outside. And man, from that angle, it's hard to tell. We stay clean and green here for another series of 10 laps. 28 laps into this race. It's Sean Langton, Trenton Collins, Brian Hennings, and Richard Holland. You've got Nick Gardner hanging on just ahead of Kyle Stewart, who's making that resurgence back to the top 5. After that contact between him and Richard Holland, let's see if he puts the pressure on. The 15 just behind him in the 8th spot. And the 5 of Ross Phillips trying to get his lap back the old-fashioned way. Truck sit down to the very bottom of the racetrack. That's Frank Zingen as they came out of turn 4, or turn 2 rather. Go back on the replay and find out what happened to him. Well, it looks like it just snaps free there as they exit turn 2. We'll back it up just a little bit more. And yeah, it's loose. That's all there is to it. He's still trying to save it. All the way down to the bottom of the racetrack. Sean Langton under fire as they come out of turn 2, side by side down the back straightaway for a moment there. Langton has now led 12 laps of this race. After starting on the pole, he gets back to his position. He hasn't looked back really since. There was a change for the lead there briefly with the 74, and now Brian Hennings is going to bring it down pit road. A couple different drivers bringing it down pit road. There's the 8, the 4, and the 01 sliding it sideways, and that'll bring out a yellow. Jimmy Socks drifting it into pit road. So this is the 01 trying to get down into the pits. Oh man, the 00 gets into the back of Sox. Maybe didn't announce that he was hitting pit road, but the W0 of Randy Swale doesn't see that coming. Let's back it up just a little bit more here. On the nose with the 00. You can see this check up here. He has probably no clue that the 01's pitting. That unfortunately brings out a caution. And some of these drivers that were trapped down pit road, they're going to have to finish their pit stops. They're going to end up back at the front, but Richard Holland, some of these guys that stayed out, this caution landing almost at the worst time imaginable. But it is a good break here for Ross Phillips. He's going to get the wave around after pit stops. And the 18 of Richard Holland is going to lead him down under caution here. So I assume 4 tires and fuel going into the number 18 machine. You got the 8 of Langton coming out. He's actually coming back in. They might not have been able to complete their stops. They might have gotten a black flag for pitting. I'm not exactly sure. So they got trapped down there. But it's going to be the 24 of Dakota Floyd, who's back out on the racetrack. And possibly a black flag for the 24. I'm not sure how this timing and scoring is going to work out for these drivers. Trent Collins, Ryan Hennings, Kobe Collins, some of the drivers that just went down pit road, I'm not entirely sure how this is all going to work out. But while we try to sort it all out, we're going to take another quick commercial break. You're watching the All-Star Customs 200 at Michigan International Raceway. We'll get that graphic fixed for you momentarily. Live on VSPEED right after this.
I played a couple of simulators and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible.
Back here live, the All-Star Customs 200 at Michigan, and we didn't fix that graphic, but nonetheless, we've got the number 4 of Trenton Collins going to lead him into turn 1. We're back live and racing after that caution during green flag pit stops, and the Ford leads him into turn 1. And it's the two column drivers up front. You've got Kobe and Trenton both pulling away from this field. Look at the draft, pulling him away from Brian Hennings in third. A lot of battling going on back further. You've got Nick Gardner, the 44 of Todd Cleveland. Frank Zingen, who went off track there a moment ago. He's down on the bottom inside of Nick Gardner now for the 6th spot as they trade back and forth down the backstretch. Nick Gardner getting a little bit of a loose exit there and allows Zingen to go by. Now the 44 of Cleveland gets around him. And some of these drivers that got shuffled out of position after the gaggle of cars that were coming down pit road got to complete their stops. You see Richard Holland all the way back to 11th. He has the 6 of Mullins on the inside, the 47 of John Buell. So he's side by side, just outside the top 10 now into 11th. Up on that high line now. So a lot of racing still left to be done. You've got Dakota Floyd, Kyle Stewart, 6th and 7th position. A little jumble there back and forth. Frank Zingen working his way into the top 5. He has Wade Palmer on the inside. And a big difference here on tires is you see the 4 and the 15 pulling away, but they have the 74 of Brian Hennings on the outside, so a little battle here for the lead. So down on the bottom, you see the 15 of Kobe Collins, and Hennings not able to get by as they go into 1 and 2. They lock up, pulling away from this field. If we go green, this will all balance itself out. As you saw the tires, limited tire sets here tonight. You can see some of the rest of this field pulling away and very spread out from the drivers that did take tires versus the drivers that might not have. And we do have a yellow. Not exactly sure where this starts, but we're going to go back and take a look. It looks like the 70 of Teresa Spiker's down on pit road. Let's go back on an instant replay. We'll have to back that up a little bit more. Spiker, there it is, I think right there. She went through the grass. There were several different instances here with the 70. There's the contact, the hit with the outside wall. Down into the grass. I'm not exactly sure if that's what brought out the caution here. You had some drivers coming off of pit road as well. It's a little bit of organized chaos here. Well, here's the 74, Brian Hennings. We're going to try to pull him up into the booth now. See if we can find the RX Simulators driver, Brian Hennings, running in the 3rd position. Brian, I'm curious, how did you guys run away so far from the rest of the field there? It looked like everybody took tires on pit road.
I am on the no tire saving strategy, so I'm pretty much not lifting. So I think everyone else is probably on the tire saving strategy. So I'm like, let's roll with it, see what happens.
Yeah, you kept up with the 15 and the 4 there on that last restart. I think Wade Palmer was the closest truck behind you, but the separation from the rest of this field, I know tires are important here. 40 laps in, another caution. That's our 4th one, I believe, of the night. What do we got in store for the rest of this?
I will probably try to run this as much as I can until I'm out of fuel, and then probably just take the last set of tires I have and just see how it shakes out.
Well, I believe we're running 80% fuel here tonight. So if I'm correct on that, you should be able to make it about 30, 31 laps you should be able to make it in one more stop, I would think.
It's telling me I got 20 left right now, 20 laps.
Yeah, that makes sense. You're on the 9 laps on this stint. Try to save as much as you can, and good luck out there, Brian.
Thank you, sir. Have a good one.
So that's VRX driver Brian Hennings in the 74, and we've got Wade Palmer, Frank Zingen just behind him. Top 5. Been kind of all over the place here tonight. A good recovery here for Ross Phillips, back on the lead lap now in the 20th position. You got the 51 of Morgan Cook in 19th. Rick Fagone, all these drivers that came down early. The 5 of Phillips actually getting involved in 2 separate accidents to start this race off, so he's able to recover. The 10 of Fagone there on the outside. He had pitted on that first accident, or that first caution rather. Shuffled deep into the field, but staying in the back, I think that's kind of what it calls for here, is you can sit back a little bit, let these guys race hard, and hopefully the tires will come to you. But if we keep getting a caution about every 15 laps or so, there's really not much reason to save as we double back up here. Rick Collins going to lead him into turn 1. So you're watching the All-Star Customs 200. For the millionth time, I haven't fixed the graphic. That's good enough. We know what it is. Back live, getting ready to go back. Green. Trenton Collins going to lead him into turn 1, and we're back. Green flag racing in Michigan. Down the back straightaway, you saw the 74 take the high line. He's going to get a good run, but the drafting with the 4 and the 15 down the back stretch, another lap led for the number 4. The teammate right behind him, but Hennings getting a good run in the entrance of 3 and 4 now. Staying in that wake, a lot of battling going on back here in the mid-pack. You've got Kyle Stewart, Dakota Floyd for 7th position. You've got Sean Langton, the pole sitter, and John Sanu running side by side. Here they come off of 2, and looks like Buell gets really loose there on the inside of Zingen. He's able to chase it down the racetrack, but as these laps progress, we're going to go back into that loose car, loose handling machine. These guys are going to have to learn to feather the throttle if they get a run. And 3 wide off of turn 4. There's the 5 of Ross Phillips inside of Garrett Helmlinger, driving the 13 here tonight. This is for the 16th position as the 5 of Phillips goes by. And you got shuffling back through this field. Richard Holland has fallen back to 13th. So mid-pack, a lot of drivers that started up towards the front have fallen out of the top 10. There's Langton just now falling out of the top 10 into 11. On board with the number 8. As he has 12 laps led, we're 45 laps into this race, approaching halfway. And you can see the 3 wide battle starting in front of him. Almost 4 wide with Pressey on the bottom. Stewart, looks like Dakota Floyd all the way down the backstretch, still 3 wide. And Langton taking it all the way to the bottom on the inside of a teammate. Now the 41 getting really loose on the exit of 4. Having to chase it up and down the racetrack. The 24 of Floyd now to the outside. And there's Nick Gardner trying to push the 24 past the 41. All the way up on the outside now. You can see the run that the outside line gets on the exits of these corners, and that's enough for the 24 of Floyd to almost clear Sean Langton as they're way up the racetrack there with the 24. Let's see what he can do here on the exit of turn 4. He's going to get the speed down the front stretch, but Langton's going to hang on the quarter panel. The 16 of Gardner is clear if he wants to come down. He's just trying to keep clean air on the nose right now. Down the back straightaway, it looks like maybe a run here for the 86 of John Sanu inside of Nick Gardner. This is just outside the top 10. Back up towards the front, though. The 29 of Wade Palmer all the way to the bottom inside of Brian Hennings. The top 4 have split away from Nicholas Pressey. Yeah, John Buell, Frank Zengen in that mix. Pressey actually a lap down, 2 laps down. This John Buell in 5th, Todd Cleveland 6th, 7th, Frank Zengen. So the battle for the lead still really tight. Can the 74 of Hennings get around? These 2 teammates making it very difficult here. Kyle Stewart leading the tandem of cars that might be on the tire saving strategy. The 41 has set right here inside the top 10 in the 8th position, just ahead of Jacob Daniels. Dakota Floyd, you've got your pole sitter Sean Langton back there in 12th, battling side by side with John Sanu as they come down the backstretch. And the 5 of Phillips really loose there. Let's go back on the instant replay and see. He snaps it all the way up the racetrack here. Wow. Good save there, though, to not hit that outside wall. But back live in racing, he falls back to the 18th position. He's riding on the back bumper of Richard Holland now. Halfway through the race here tonight. The All-Star Customs 200. If you know where the volume knob is on your mobile device or your PC, now's the time to crank it up. Let's turn up the volume for a couple laps here and ride on board with your new race leader, Kobe Collins. Actually, Brian Hennings, rather. So Pressy having a hard time trying to catch that thing with a controller, and you see him all the way up the racetrack. But Todd Cleveland's going to take over the lead here on lap 54. Kobe Collins did get a lap led here tonight. 2 laps led, actually, and he is really loose coming off of 2 right in front of Brian Hennings. Trying to hold on to that machine up there on the outside. You've got the 15, the 44. They battled it out for a couple laps, and now Todd Cleveland getting his first laps led of this race. Seeing a Ford F-150 leading this thing. Some drivers did come down pit road during that crank it up moment. We had the 51 of Morgan Cook, the number 8 of Sean Langton coming down as well. Rick Fagone, Justin Ritchie hitting pit road. So a few drivers on different strategies. I actually hear a truck exiting pit road right now. I believe that's the 24 of Dakota Floyd coming back out on the racetrack. So Todd Cleveland, your leader here on lap 56. We're fast approaching green flag pit stops. Will they stay green flag? The 44 of Cleveland on about 10 lap fresher tires than the rest of this pack as he pulls away. Lap 57 started out of 100. Past the halfway point here tonight. And some drivers coming down pit road. There's the 41 of Kyle Stewart, the 18 of Richard Holland, and the 6 of Justin Mullins. We'll probably have some other takers down pit road in just a moment. There's Kobe Collins on the outside. He's got Sean Langton. Pressure tires going by now. As they get their lap back, or try to, they got to catch up to the 44 of Cleveland. That's Langton and Cook ahead of the 15 now. So Cleveland going to let this pack by. He's going to be in a better situation, I think, with pit road, or hitting pit road, because he'll be the only truck to really come down there, and he's in the lead. So I think he's in a good situation. However, the 51, the 8, they're going to make up a little bit of time on him as they pull away with their fresher tires. A caution here would throw all these strategies out the window. We have some drivers that are out there still 28 laps deep. You've got Hiddings, Collins, Kobe, and Trenton Collins, Wade Palmer, Frank Zingen, John Buell, John Sanu, all on the same strategy with 27 plus laps. Then you have Jacob Daniels, Benjamin Richards on the 19 strategy. 8-7 laps for Morgan and Sean Langton. It's really all over the place here, trying to keep up with all the different strategies as you see the 15 and the 4 come down pit road now for scheduled stops, 28 laps in. Todd Cleveland going to stay out. Well, Brian Hennings is staying out. He's going to go 29 laps here. Pushing it about as far as he can for the 74. So all over the place here with the tire strategies. We have separated this field. We have spread it completely out, and that's what Michigan is known for. That's how realistic this iRacing simulator can be, because we've seen stuff like this at Michigan where the pack just gets so spread out after entering and exiting pit road. That's where 10th place was. Now look at where Todd Cleveland is on the front stretch. Second place, Brian Hennings coming down pit road now. He pushed it 30 laps. Down and away for the 74. Johnson, who takes over the second position. Looking like he might drop it down pit road. He does. Just about to finish this stint, as you have the 16 of Nick Gardner just behind him, coming down as well from the 7th position. Benjamin Richards and Cole Jarrett, Ross Phillips, Todd Cleveland are probably going to be the next cars to come down pit road. Gardner gets service to the number 16. Down and away for the 16 now. So about... Yeah, I was going to say 10 laps led, but it's 12 laps led now for the 44 of Todd Cleveland. And the closest driver to him, second position, Jacob Daniels, who's actually 10 seconds back. That's how much this field has spread out here. But we're going to take another quick commercial break. You're watching the All-Star Customs 200. You like that? I fixed the graphic finally. Live on VSPEED. We'll be back right after this.
I played a couple of simulators and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Back here live at Michigan International Raceway. We have completed 68 laps out of 100, 200 miles here tonight. for the All-Star Customs 200. And your leader taking over on lap number 68 is the number 5 of Ross Phillips. Todd Cleveland has brought it down pit road. So Phillips going to get some laps led, but he was a little bit off there after the strategy with hitting and now very loose coming in out of turn 4 to get in on pit road, but able to hold it under him. He's had a rough start to this day. He started in the back of the field. So there's one problem he's had. He was back in the field, got caught up in a couple accidents, but he's since recovered back to the lead lap, and he's able to get up front. Didn't get the lap led, but the 5 was up front for a moment there. Now taking over the lead, though, you've got the 74 of Brian Hennings officially leading 1 lap. He's got Wade Palmer about 1.2 seconds. Morgan Cook in 3rd spot, racing side by side. And there's the 8 of Sean Langton on board with him now. Coming off of turn 4, it looks like Brian Hennings might be under fire here in a moment, but 1.2 second lead. He's holding his own here tonight, getting the laps led, looking really well. With our start out here tonight, we had a little bit of cautions plaguing us to start out, but it's since settled way down after about lap 30. These drivers have done a phenomenal job, and we're 70 laps, 3/4 of the way through this race. With all of our lead changes, I want to put that graphic back up there. 9 lead changes here tonight. We're not done. The weather here tonight, 111 degrees on the track surface, and that's why these drivers are having such a hard time with the passes and the grip. It's been a struggle through practice, qualifying, all of it. And that might be why the 5 of Ross Phillips started in the back. He might have had an accident during his qualifying that put him all the way in the back of the field. He's since recovered after these green flag pit stops. He's in 17th, but a lot better than what he was doing to start this race out with all the problems he had. But there's the 74 of Hennings, going to come by to lead his 4th lap here, and Wade Palmer, that gap has stayed just about the same of 1.2 seconds. You can see Hennings having that lap car in front of him, able to use that as a draft advantage. So he might be able to manipulate this race a little bit here with the 707. And if this is your first time watching any racing on VSPEED, we would appreciate if you hit the subscribe button. The VSRL SCT Truck Series goes live every Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time. So turn on your notifications and you'll never miss a single race. We have a lot of other oval racing here on the service, and BTDY, SNR, Bluegrass. We're inheriting some other leagues as well. We're trying to work out some contracts and some deals. We're going to have plenty of racing come January for you to get through the winter. So 73 laps in. Brian Hennings not quite in that conservation mode. We talked to him during that last caution. He said he wasn't saving the tires. He was just going to push this thing as far as it would go. He was able to string it out 30 laps on the last stint. Now 12 laps in. He's going to have to pit again. They'll probably make it somewhere around lap 89 to 90 before he has to pit. So unfortunately, if we don't get a caution, Hennings is going to be in trouble. Go back further. We've got the 55 going around on the backstretch. Somehow able to save it. But Justin Ritchie. Wow. back on the instant replay to figure out what happened to the 55. Oh, the 16 of Nick Gardner goes for a ride as well. And hard into the inside wall. The 16 heavy damage on the left front. Back one more time. It looks like there was a little bit of a check up here with the 19 of Laverne, the 4 of Collins, the 55 checks up. These drivers behind him just don't, and yeah, Gardner getting the worst end of that. How about the 55 able to hold on to that, though? So we stay green somehow through all of that. Wade Palmer taking over the lead. Brian Hennings brings it down pit road. He knows he's in a situation, so he figured it out. He comes down into the pits. He's going to pit with about 25 to go. Locks it up there a little bit there to get into his stall, but he tops off with fuel. The 74 is just topping off with fuel. Okay. Well, let's see what he's got. Wade Palmer taking over the lead here. To lead his second lap of the night. 15 laps on this stint for the 29. Hennings might have made a good judgment call there, knowing that he wasn't going to make it on fuel, and he doesn't have any tires left, apparently. There's the 51 of Morgan Cook coming back out on the racetrack. He did have tires that last stop, but a little slow on and off pit road. He was about 3 seconds slower than some of the guys that are behind him. Luckily, able to come down there a little bit sooner. And it looks like Morgan Cook might cycle out into the top 5 after all the pit stops happen. It's been very hard to keep track of where everyone's going to end up. That's the frustrating part about my job here. Is trying to figure out who's on what strategy. Here's the 24 of Dakota Floyd coming down pit road. Yeah, try figuring this out. 21 laps now. Richard Holland gets out to second position. He's about 10 laps short of his fuel stint. Does he have an extra set of tires that he can come down and grab? The 5 of Phillips, 9 laps now. Does he have enough fuel to make it to the end? Now, a caution, again, would completely disregard anything we have to worry about and put all these drivers kind of back on the same page, but then you're going to have to sort who has tires, who doesn't. You'll see those drivers come down pit road. You'll see the drivers that don't stay out on the racetrack in hopes that they can keep position. It's not done getting interesting. Justin Mullins now coming down pit road. Richard Holland in there as well. Curious to see if the 18 has any tires left. He does. 47 back out onto the racetrack. It's been a very confusing day, but what we can tell you is that the 29 of Wade Palmer is leading this race with about 20 laps to go. There's the 24 of Dakota Floyd going by on the inside. When I spoke with a lot of these drivers during pre-race, it didn't sound like they felt like it was going to go green at any point, but here we are, 80 laps. We've had a solid 40 plus under green. Are we going to be able to seal the deal and finish this one with the green flag out? Do all these strategies that have come into play with the tires, the fuel. There's Garrett Helmlinger up to the second position, filling in for Thad Miller here tonight. Ross Phillips up to third. And again, these drivers are still going to have to pit. I don't think Ross Phillips can make it to the end of this race. It's going to be really close for the 5. So the 5 might be in conservation mode. I can't exactly tell. He was sort of in the draft there. He might be lifting a little earlier, maybe half throttle. I know the trucks that just passed him are on much fresher tires, so they are going to get around him a little bit easier. That's interesting to figure out. I don't know what the situation is there. There's Todd Cleveland, who led some laps a moment ago. He led 16 of them, to be correct, and now in the 4th position, 6 laps into this stint. He's going to be close on fuel. He might make it. I think he's one of the most realistic drivers, I think, in this top 5 that has the fuel to make it to the end. And after this all cycling out, the 9 of Benjamin Richards into the 5th position, having a great day here. Started in 20th. Finds himself in the top 5. '51 of Morgan Cook in the 6th spot. Sean Langton, your pole sitter, in 7th, a little bit further back from him. Battles on the racetrack. Dakota Floyd catching up to the inside of Brian Hennings, who topped off with fuel. Probably isn't going to be in the top 5 after this all cycles out. Riding on board with the number 41 of Kyle Stewart. He started in the front row. He's currently in 12th. I think he's going to be another driver that's probably back up in the top 5, really close to it anyway, after this all cycles through. Richard Holland in front of him with a little bit fresher tires, running behind Trayton Collins, who's led quite a few laps of this race here tonight. Richard Holland also getting some laps led. 18 laps led there for the number 4. As Holland goes to the inside here into 3 and 4. Trying to sort this all out. You got the 29 of Wade Palmer staying out for 23 laps now, praying for a caution. There's Garrett Helmlinger coming down pit road now. Down and away for the 13. And it looks like the 13 of Helmlinger did have tires. There's Rick Fagone, would be a position here if he can get around. He's got Nick Gardner behind him. Remember, Nick Gardner had to come back down pit road after getting heavy damage on the left front. There's Wade Palmer coming down into pit road with about 20 laps to go. Well, under 20 laps to go, about 15 laps to go, rather. Ross Phillips staying out on the racetrack. He doesn't quite get a lap led here. He's been trying. He's been hunting for that all race long. If he's able to stay out one more lap, which I think he will be able to, he's only been out there 18 laps on this stint, he'll be able to get a lap led. Morgan Cook works his way into the top 3 now. Chasing down Todd Cleveland. He's about 1.4 seconds back from the 44. And man, Todd Cleveland looks like he's in another 7.7 seconds back from Phillips, but he's getting loose. Cleveland's struggling here. He just lost about 0.3 of a second that last time by. Morgan Cook, 39.6. Cleveland had a 39.9. This could be the battle for the lead here in the closing laps. I think it's going to come down to Morgan Cook and Todd Cleveland. Maybe Sean Langton, too. Almost some contact just behind Langton, the 47 and Buell, getting really close to the 707. You've got quite a few trucks back there that are struggling to keep the handling under them as they keep 3 wide just behind them. It's David Collins getting sent around into the outside wall, and caution is out. I saw that happening. It's like a train wreck. You couldn't look away. I saw it happening. Back on the instant replay, this throws everyone's strategy completely out the window. Now the 88 doesn't give any room to the 707, just puts his nose in there for whatever reason. Let's go on board with the 88. I mean, he's got a lane above him that he could come up. I mean, that's that's running it close, and I don't. I know it wasn't the 88's intention to do that, but you got plenty of room up to your upper side there. We're gonna take a look at it one more time from the blimp camera, and he's got 2 lanes that he could come up there. 00 just out of nowhere is destroyed. Randy Saleh probably not expecting that to happen. But here we come down pit road for some of these drivers. You got Benjamin Richards coming down into the pits. This completely shakes everything up. I really don't know what to expect here. We're going to have about 5 laps to go when we go back green. Let's pull up the 51 of Morgan Cook here. Morgan Cook, it's Bradley Cooper in the VSPEED booth. You got a copy?
I gotcha.
Strategy doesn't mean anything now. I don't even know what to say. I was trying to figure it out. Now it means nothing. You find yourself up here in the top 3. I don't think anyone had any tires left. There was a couple drivers that did come down, but I think they're just topping off. What is going to happen here?
Oh, man, I don't know. I had this race won. I had the newest tires. Ross was saving fuel. He was a couple laps short. Cleveland, I had him by a nose, and the caution came out at a bad spot. Yeah, we're just going to have to get up on the wheel here. We're probably going to have 7 to go-ish. Just got to drive like hell and see if we can pass everyone.
Yeah, I think situationally with the way the stints went, you had this race under your belt. Langton would have been probably the closest driver to you to make that situation tough. But now, resetting the field, everybody's going to get crazy. I say clear the 44 as quick as you can, because I don't think we're done wrecking yet.
Yeah, if I can get around this 44, yeah, well, we'll see what happens. Ross has super old tires, so it's between me, the 44, the 8, and the 24. One of us is probably going to come out with the win here.
Don't count out that number 18 as well. He's kind of on your stint as well, so keep it in mind. But good luck out there, Morgan Cook.
Thank you.
So it's about to get really interesting for about 7 laps. As we see the pace truck pull off here. I don't know. I don't know what to expect. I expect a wreck. I do predict that. I don't know where it's going to happen. Hopefully it doesn't happen up here in this top 5. But I do expect it to happen. Drivers with different tires, fuel strategies, drivers that have been frustrated all night trying to get back up here into the top 10. Things are going to get crazy. As you see the 5 of Phillips down there on the bottom. He's got 23 lap old tires. He's going to be in a situation where the 51's going to have to follow. They are going to count this down, so they are in an advantage there. But Man, I don't know. I don't know what to expect. Let's see if we can make it to the white flag. Green flag back up into the air. Let's see if we can do it. The 5 and the 51 on the inside row. We're back live and racing for 7 laps to go. Todd Cleveland gets pinned up there on the outside with his older tires. Now the 8 of Langton, the 5 of Phillips. They're going to draft down the backstretch. The 51 of Cook, who said he felt like he had this race won, is going to have to work his way back around Sean Langton, who's on the same tires. The 24 of Dakota Floyd now on the back bumper. How about the 5 of Phillips, able to hold on to this lead as long as he has with the older tires, and we've got another yellow flag. Not exactly sure where this came out. Maybe Randy Swale. I have to go back on the replay and figure this out. I have no idea why the yellow flag came out. Absolutely none. This is the restart, so let's just say that it happened somewhere around here. We'll ride on board with the 707 and see if we can figure this out. There it is, the 9 of Richards. He's going to go around. So that brings out the caution here. Has a little bit of help from the 121 down across the nose of the 88. And does about 2.5 360s. Gets it back facing the right direction. So how about Ross Phillips, able to hold on to the lead for as long as he has? 26 laps on these tires. I think it's inevitable, though, that he's going to get passed by one of these 2 drivers behind him that are teammates. But if he's able to hold on to it like he just did, it's going to be a tough venture. That short little jump there on the restart might be enough that he'd be able to hold on to the lead and get this win. Don't count out any of these guys behind him. I know it's going to be tough. This truck is very loose. It's very easy to overdrive. But how about the up and down day? Starting from the back of the pack, the 5 of Phillips up here into the top 3. He's leading this race in the closing laps with about 3 to go when we take the green flag. So getting ready to double back up. Ross Phillips, Morgan Cook, the top 2. Sean Langton, 3rd. Dakota Floyd, Todd Cleveland, the top 5. All the way back to Kobe Collins, who was up towards the front. Trenton Collins, who led some laps here tonight. You had 6 cautions with 11 lead changes here at Michigan International Raceway for the All-Star 200, the All-Star Customs 200. But with all the different strategies, the mix-ups, the tires, the limited sets, the fuel, it all comes down to these next 4 laps. You do have green-white checkers. That is a possibility. Just have to wait and see. 5 of Phillips down on the apron, trying to save enough fuel to make it to the end. It's going to be a tight window here for the 5. I'm just going to let the driving do the talking here for the next couple laps. And see if we can figure this out. Pace truck pulls off. And we're back live and racing at Michigan. Oh, we got another caution here. It looks like Randy Saleh. Let's go back on the instant replay and figure out what happened to him. He's actually coming back out on the racetrack, so I'm not exactly sure where this happens. We'll ride back on board with the 707 and see if we can see what happens. They were 4 wide down the backstretch here right in front. It looks like the 9 of Richard goes around again. '72 of Jacob Daniels on the outside. They're 4 wide here. On the backstretch, the 9 of Richard just comes up into the 72. So that brings out another caution here tonight. I don't know if Phillips... Yeah, Phillips is... I think he's out of fuel. Oh, he's not out of fuel. I'd pull him up here in the booth, but I know he's focusing on that. How much fuel he needs to make it to the end. I don't know if he has enough. It's going to be tough. There's really no other drivers that are out there. Kobe Collins and Nick Gardner are about the closest here to his stint with 24 laps, but the 5 is just pushing it on fuel. He didn't want another caution to come out. I know he's had an up and down day, and I'd hate to bother him while he's in fuel saving mode, so we're just going to leave that alone. But here in the closing laps, Ross Phillips trying to hold on to this thing, and the 51 of Morgan Cook trying to take over the lead. He needs these drivers to stay clean and green. After all the shuffling around, the 51 of Cook, he's had the opportunity to pass, just hasn't had the green flag out there for it. We're going to take another quick commercial break. You're watching the All-Star Customs 200 Green-White Checker territory here tonight at Michigan. We'll be back on VSPEED right after this.
I played a couple of simulators and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving, it feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Back here live at Michigan International Raceway, Ross Phillips in fuel conservation mode trying to win this race. He's got Morgan Cook, Dakota Floyd, Sean Langton, and Todd Cleveland in the top 5. Richard Holland just outside there with Garrett Helmlinger, Trenton Collins, Kyle Stewart, and Kobe Collins. Let's find out who's going to get it done. Into green-white checkered territory. They're going to take the green flag. If they can make it back around for the white flag, the race will be official. They'll have to come back to the checkered, but green flag is back out at Michigan. The 24 of Dakota Floyd on the inside of Morgan Cook for the second position. They take it all the way down to the backstretch at the bottom. 3 wide behind them. Everyone fanning out. Positions to be grabbed. They're going to make it to the white flag, I think. It looks like they might make it off of turn 4. Really loose there for the 8 of Langton. All the way up into the 44 of Cleveland. White flag up in the air. Ross Phillips has a little bit of help there with the draft. They're going to go 3 wide into 1. Morgan Cook in the middle. The 24 of Floyd all the way down on the bottom. Trent Collins slides up the racetrack. The 51 of Cook going to get a run with the 13 of Helmlinger pushing him down the back stretch. Trouble behind. The 74's around. Your VRX white flag. And the 5 of Ross Phillips looks like he's going to hold on with 33 laps on his tires. The winner of this race, Ross Phillips, coming from all the way in the back of the field to win here in Michigan. And he's out of fuel. Unbelievable finish. The 24 of Dakota Floyd's going to come home in second. Morgan Cook in third, and Ross Phillips getting the victory parade lap. He's getting pushed back around to the start-finish line by the 55 of Justin Ritchie. And now just enough to come back here to the start-finish line. Unbelievable finish. He has enough for a burnout. And that's all he's got. Post-race interviews with your top 3. We're also going to talk to Garrett Helmlinger. I know that he doesn't get much track time. He's just outside of that top 3. You're watching the All-Star Customs 200 at Michigan International Raceway. We'll be back right after this.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
I played a couple of simulators, and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff. The motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving. It feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Back here at Michigan International Raceway, we've concluded 200 miles in the SCT Truck Series for race number 10 out of 15. A surprise win here tonight from Ross Phillips. He didn't start leading this race until the very end, but ultimately it came down to fuel strategy, saving as much as he could. And he's able to come across the line in first place. We've caught up down on pit road with your third place finisher, and that's Morgan Cook. We're going to pull him into the broadcast booth. And Morgan, we knew what you needed to do, but the cautions repeatedly coming out. It seemed like you had the run there on that second to last caution, but it got ruined there right at the end.
Yeah, really cautions all race. Couldn't have fallen much worse. Had the race won. Was on a strategy earlier in the race. I think it was about lap 30 or 40, where I had more fuel than everyone else. My stops are going to be shorter the rest of the race, and it was going to probably work out fairly well, but cautions kept me from that one too. Yeah, this last run was, I'm just rewatching it back, and I got a little bit loose in 3 and 4 coming to the white, and that sealed it for me. But, good win, Ross. Good second, Dakota. We had a really good battle. I just about turned him off my nose into 3 on the last lap, but it all worked out.
Yeah, I saw the run coming out of just before that last caution, and prior to all of this, with the cautions breeding cautions, you looked like you were catching the 44, and we knew that he wasn't going to be able to keep it ahead of you. I think the 8 of Langton was going to follow suit and probably end up right behind you. Only God knows who was going to finish ahead of who in that situation, but it really looked like you had the potential to win this race tonight. I know it sucks.
Yeah, Ross was saving fuel that whole time. That's why he kept falling all the way back and picking all the way back up. He had trouble getting the truck refired. But yeah, I was catching the 44. He had no tires. I was on new tires, so I was chopping away 6/10, 6/10 here, second here, every lap, getting up to him. He was getting bigger, and then yeah, Sean was on the same tires as I was, and I was managing him a little bit better than he was, and steadily just walking away from him, and it just wasn't meant to be in Michigan tonight.
I know that we talked pre-race, and it was a tough place to get around, but do you have anybody that you'd like to shout out and thank for tonight's performance?
Yeah, I got to thank the Orange Speed guys, obviously. Every week they help us all get better. I haven't really turned any laps here until the practice session earlier today. I got to thank those guys. I thank Bald Head Island Vacations. Dad wasn't here tonight, but his truck was here in spirit. Southeast Tutoring at setutoring.ca. VSPEED, obviously. Best looking truck out here once again. All the fans watching at home. And then all the drivers who show up to these things every week. VSRL admins. Yeah, awesome show. Don't forget to like and subscribe VSPEED.
Hey, we appreciate that. Thanks for the shout out as well. And Morgan, thank you for all you do to help us out, and good race tonight. I know that this one's a little sour, but still a top 3. Well done.
Thanks. See you next time.
So there's Morgan Cook in the 51, finishing 3rd here tonight at Michigan. We've got the 24 of Dakota Floyd. He's our 2nd place finisher here tonight. Dakota, man, how did he do it? He was on about 10 lap older tires and saving fuel and doing about a million other things. I thought you guys were going to be able to get around him pretty quick.
I really thought so too, but when we were in that little grouped up, the group of 4 of us, me, Sean, Morgan, and Ross, I mean, my tires were the freshest between the 4 of us. I'd pit 2 laps after Morgan and Sean. I wanted to ensure that I at least had better tires if something happened. But it was just so hard to stick it to the bottom, even with those fresher tires. I was so afraid of just dumping it in one of the corners.
Yeah, Sean actually fell back to about the 11th, just outside the top 10. It seemed like this truck was unpredictably loose. So we talked a little bit in pre-race about that. I sent you a message like, loosey-goosey. This thing was just unpredictable at times.
Oh yeah, it was just a matter of if you could take care of the right rear better than everybody else, you were going to be better in the long run, especially since we had to skip tires on one of the stops. You didn't necessarily have to go full run on that skip, but taking care of that right rear definitely helped you maintain your pace.
Well, not to make any of this about myself, but I'm about to turn 32 in about an hour, and I need some advice here, Dakota.
Advice? Oh, well, I'm younger than you, so good luck.
Well,
and also happy birthday.
Well, appreciate that, but I'm washed, man. I got out there on the track tonight, and I felt fast. I felt good. And to see you guys out here tonight, man, it just brought back the youth. It put it back in my blood. To see you out there driving that thing, and you're on the inside here on the replay of Morgan Cook. To see the race, how it all unfolded, man, it makes me wish that I wasn't in the broadcast booth.
I definitely, it was an awesome race, honestly. Once we were able to get green for a good chunk of that race, strategies were all over the place, and that's the part I love, especially at a track like this where, yeah, it's not necessarily full throttle or, pack racing for a good chunk of it, but it still ends up coming strategy, and that late race caution, and then just cautions after that, and it's through the whole everything for a loop. It was just awesome to see how everything turned out and how close it was at the end.
Yeah, and it all comes down to fuel saving by the 5. That was just incredible. I can't believe you did it, but congratulations to you on the second place. I know that you worked hard for it as well. Do you have anybody you'd like to shout out?
I'd like to shout out the league, Garrett, all the other admins, putting on an awesome league. We're getting ready to start the playoffs, so it's going to get crazier, and definitely appreciate you putting all the work into the broadcast, Coop. It's awesome what you're doing, and the broadcast is getting better week in and week out. Sponsors, Beltway Coffee, Luke Transport, awesome sponsors to have on the truck. Definitely give the Beltway Coffee a look. Awesome product, guys. And a shout out to my girlfriend that's watches the broadcast every day, supports me doing my hobby. It's awesome. I just really appreciate everybody.
Well, I apparently took too long for Ross Phillips. He left the waiting room, so I'm gonna have to go find him again.
It's okay. I'll drag him up here. He doesn't like to. He likes to run away.
He ran away. Oh. Ross, there he is. Hey, what are you doing, man? You want to
running away from their waiting room.
I moved down real quick before we get going crazy here. I moved down actually to talk to Garrett to see about forfeiting the win because of what was going on under the caution. I could not get my truck refired, and I fell back, and several of people that I've talked to agreed, so I think it's only fair, in my opinion, to forfeit the win and move back.
So well, that's ultimately, we're interviewing you. I know that there's some, we're going to talk to you, but the information that you're giving us right now, so the understanding that I get is you fell too far back?
So yes, there's just, it's the worry. I was shutting the truck off. The previous caution, I was just clutching it, and I was saving fuel just fine. Well, somebody had said shut the truck off, and I was worried about that. And because I've done that before and had an issue with it refiring. Well, I shut it off. Well, the first time I shut it off, when I tried to refire it, I couldn't get it fired back up. And I didn't know what was going on. I ended up letting go of the clutch, and it brought it somewhat to life, but there was no throttle. And then Sean Langton yelled at me and was like, hit the I key again, and it brought it to life. And I started moving, but by that time, I'd fallen back to like 8th or 9th place.
Yeah, you have your power switch, which is I, and then you have your actual starter, which is S.
Yeah.
Default keys.
I don't know this stuff.
Yeah, that's craziness. I actually have it programmed to my wheel for that reason, but I don't know what kind of wheel. How many buttons do you got?
A ton. I've got the G923, whatever it is. So
yeah, just put it up there on the wheel, man, so you can just
plus
click
2 button
on
boxes.
and click off. Yeah, you got the potential here. You gotta change
it's
that.
horrible. It was just an all around. I'm not gonna lie. It was just an all around horrible race for me. Like I'm hurting. I don't know what I did with my back earlier, but I'm hurting. It's hard to walk. It's uncomfortable
You hit the turn 4 exit wall and the
head
backstretch
on.
wall.
Head on. Yeah,
had
that
a rough
was
start to this one.
rough. Yeah, and unfortunately, when I towed there, it used a set of tires, so I was behind the 8 ball the entire time, and just luck. I mean, it was luck. But
Yeah,
Yeah.
with the way everything fell here tonight. I mean, I know the courtesy of what you're discussing, but you know, that's the sanctioning body making that decision. I think you overcame a lot of obstacles here tonight, and in my personal opinion, not fanboying because you're the 5 or anything, but I think you deserve the win for all that you
Yeah,
went
for
through
sure.
here tonight.
yeah, it's like I said, it was rough. I mean, just everything was rough between hurting and yeah.
Yeah, I
Who's kicking
slept
my
on my
ass?
shoulder wrong last night, so I'm right there with you. I'm sitting here like,
Well, I was sitting at work cleaning my stall because I'm a mechanic, and I was cleaning my stall and just brooming. I was just sweeping, and next thing I know, like felt a little pop, and yep,
it's hell
we're
getting
hurt.
old, isn't it, Ross?
Oh, bro, tell me about it. I give
I'm
up.
not
Can
not
I
getting
start
any
over?
younger. I asked Dakota if he had any advice because in an hour I'm turning 32, and I don't think I feel any different than when I turned 31. But there's so many things that happen in your life that you have those first time experiences. And
Yeah.
it just feels like you have less of those, and time goes by faster.
Right. You already have kids, don't you?
Yeah, he's keeping
Yeah.
me young. He's
Yeah. So
but he's aging me
you're
too.
already there. Literally, the kid is what becomes life. That's it. Your life. You know, don't take it the wrong way, but your life
Right.
literally no longer matters. I mean, it's just every birthday is another day. I mean, I'm 42 and I don't even celebrate my birthday. I go out to dinner with the kids, or parents buy me dinner, whatever. Other than that, it's just another day. It's all about my kids, man.
Right. Yeah.
So,
Well, I mean, we got the days though. We know the day of the week. We're gonna have a little special something. I'm sure I'm gonna smoke some ribs or something good.
smoke
Just to have-
something.
Yeah, smoke something. Smoke something. That's the important thing. Just to get rid of that pain, But
Oh yeah.
Ross, regardless of what the decision making is here, congratulations on coming back and overcoming all
Appreciate it.
that. There was a lot of other people out here, 30 plus trucks out here tonight. So it was a tough drive. Do you have anybody you'd like to shout out?
I mean, just everybody that's in the league. VSRL. I mean, just everybody that puts on this whole thing. I mean, it's just one collaborative effort, and every week it's just fun. It gives us something to do on Monday nights. We were talking earlier. This is the best part of Mondays. So just amazing. Thank you for putting on the broadcast. Thank you for getting old. Happy early birthday.
Thank you.
Other than that, yeah, just appreciate everybody for coming out.
Ross,
Have a good
you
time.
got 2 weeks left in the truck series. Can you get back up there in the top 10, please?
Oh, we're probably gonna do that this week. Yeah, it's last couple of tracks. I didn't even run them, so.
iRacing Super Speedway is kind of.
I've got.
not a fan. Not a fan.
I've got Dover, which tomorrow I think is the high strength of field race. So, and I'm really good at Dover. And then, what do we got after that? Auto Club and
Yeah.
somewhere else. And I'm really good at the last couple of tracks. So I'll probably finish maybe top 5 or 6, something like that. So I don't think I'm going to catch Jacob pretty damn fast. So
That's gonna be tough. Yeah, but yeah, I mean, try to get into one of those top splits if you can. I know the times moved back an hour, so that does help a little bit. It's at 7:15 now. So
well, I'm always in the top split. It's just a matter of catching the good strength of field where it's the strength of field's 5,000 instead of 2,000
yeah,
or 3,000.
You gotta hop in there at 7:15, and maybe we'll see you on the Makuni Entertainment as well.
Yeah, get in there and kick Malik Ray's ass. That's right.
All right, Ross,
Yep.
appreciate your time, man. I'm gonna try to pull up Garrett Humlinger as well and get his take on things, but appreciate you and take care.
Appreciate it. Yeah, have a good night, bud.
That's the official, unofficial race winner, Ross Phillips, here tonight, and we're gonna pull up Garrett Humlinger and get a quick talk with him. I know that he's been. Garrett, we gotta ask. There was a courtesy talk. You were out here putting it down. You got Thad Miller a 4th place finish here tonight. So first of
Yeah,
all,
I
let's
did.
talk about that.
If I had another lap, I would have gotten that in victory lane.
You think so?
Oh yeah, dude, I was coming. Coming out of 2. I thought Morgan was a goner, and I thought he was going straight into the wall. So I started backing off the throttle to try and get away from it. But if I would have kept in it, I know that I would have.
You had
There
a
was a
lot
solid
fresher
2 or 3
tires. About,
seconds where when the caution came out, my tires were 4 laps old. So
yeah,
I was ready.
Yeah, you didn't have any green laps on those tires, and based off my stint counter, you were a good 10 laps ahead of both of the guys, and even more than that to Ross Phillips. Yeah, I think you were on the right strategy. It just didn't pan out that way with what happened with the caution.
Needed that last caution to not happen, or I needed, basically me not to hesitate right there and try bunching up the whole field. Because if I would have, I know I would have trusted them to shove it 3 wide, and I think I would have had a good chance coming out of 4 to be side by side with Ross. But then again, it's not worth ruining Richard's day and Morgan's day just because I'm out here for my 3rd time this season trying to win a race. So it would have been worth it for Thad, not worth it for me.
Oh, send it for Thad. I mean,
heck yeah, man.
The do it for Dale mentality was there. You got the capital THAD above the window as well. That's
heck yeah, awesome. Man. And then I'll be back in the 77 next week. So
well, I mean, as a governing body, you could move yourself up to 3rd here tonight.
I could, but you know what? we I don't play like that.
Yeah, I don't see any reason. He
won it. He did stuff that I've done before to win races by saving fuel, and that's just part of the game. He never came to a stop. If he would have come to a stop, that'd be one thing, but he kept it rolling. As far as I see, if iRacing don't have a problem with it, we're gonna roll with that. So
yeah, that's a judgment call that, you know, if Ross was disliked, you know, and wrecked people every week, I could see where that might be a thing to just be like, okay, well, you know what? We're going to take that away from you. But Ross is a good sport. He did what he needed to do. And for all the stuff he had to overcome here tonight, I know I sound like a fanboy, but there was a lot of stuff he had to go through.
There was right there towards the end, right before my last pit stop on the 85, everybody had already pitted and was just hard charging to the front. And I was running 2nd and Ross was running 3rd. And I was like, damn, me and him are in the same boat. And he didn't have tires. So I was in front of him and look who came out on top. So, but yeah, it was a hell of a night. I miss doing this all the time. Coming out here for tonight kind of brings back the itch to get back here week after week racing with these guys. I love it. But I'll get to do it next week, and then I'll get back into my perch, and then I'll give Talladega a shot, and then that'll be it for me this year, and then we'll get them next season.
Well, Garrett, we appreciate your time. I know you got him out there.
Appreciate you.
Hey, I'm filling in here tonight for Thad Miller. Do you have anybody you'd like to shout out?
You, Morgan, Kyle, Sean, Thad, Justin, Brian, everybody who has anything to do with the office side of things here at VSRL, all the drivers who come out every week, everybody who watches, regardless of who you're watching for or where you're watching from, just every single lug nut that is in this league. I'm thanking. I gotta thank every week. I love having the opportunity to come up and talk. So that my voice is one of the last things that people hear on the broadcast, because I don't get to talk to them that much. I get to talk to the drivers every week, but I don't get to talk to everybody else. So it's nice. And tonight was a lot of fun, even though there was a bunch of yellows that might not have been necessary. It's Michigan. It was a really loose setup, a lot looser than normal. So I think everybody did a really good job, all things considered.
Yeah, it was a handful, and being out there on the track, I can experience. I didn't know where I was, to be honest with you, but it felt good, and it was good to see you guys bring it home and have a great finish. Starting the points with the playoffs, or is it? I might be over speaking. Is it playoffs format?
No, we're just gonna right now. When I get done with this, we're gonna go through and crunch some bonus points, and then the points have already been reset. We're going through and doing the bonus points right now, and then we'll run 5 races, and just whoever does the best over the next 5 weeks.
All right, so a chase format.
Yep, old school.
All right, well, Garrett, we look forward to that. We've got 5 races left here
Don't get too bored
VSRL.
next week.
Oh, we won't. We won't. But I appreciate your time, Garrett, and we look forward to having the remaining 5 races here at VSRL.
Appreciate you.
So there it is. There's Garrett Humlinger filling in for Thad Miller, and let's get your final results up on the screen here. It's Ross Phillips somehow figuring out to come back from 30th position to win this race here tonight. Unbelievable. Dakota Floyd, Morgan Cook, the top 3. Garrett Helmlinger, 4th. Richard Holland with the top 5. Started in 4th. He only lost 1 position. Trent Collins with probably the best finish of the season here in the number 4. He's going to come home in 6th. John Sanu, 7th. Kyle Stewart in 8th. Frank Zingen in 9th. And Todd Cleveland in 10th. We've got some unfortunates here to show you for the rest of this remaining results. You can look back here at Brian Hennings. He got spun out there on the backstretch. He's going to come home in 19th, but Sean Langton, also unfortunate, started in the pole. He's going to come home in 11th. Nick Gardner in 12th. Kobe Collins in 13th. Justin Ritchie, 14th. Wade Palmer is going to come home 15th with Benjamin Richards in 16th. Cole Jarrett, 17th. Jacob Daniels in 18th, Brian Hennings 19th, and Rick Fagoon rounding out that top 20. The remaining 10 cars on the track, John Buell in 21st, Justin Mullins going to bring it home in 22nd, Chris Max 23rd, Nicholas Pressey 24th, David Collins 25th, Randy Swale in 26th, 27th, Riley Laverne, Teresa Spiker 28th, Jimmy Sachs in 29th, 30th will be Cody Williams. That'll round out your field here tonight. If you enjoyed tonight's broadcast here at the Michigan International Raceway, make sure you hit that subscribe button. The SET Truck Series is going to go back live in racing. We've got a lot of racing left to do at 9 p.m. Eastern Time on Monday nights. And catch us here tomorrow for BTDY. Below the Double Yellow will be going green at 8:35. But for everybody at VSPEED, Adam Baker, Eddie Smith, Alec Martinez, Connor Horn, Morgan Cook, and everyone in between, this is Bradley Cooper signing off tonight. Take care, everybody, and have a great rest of your week.
I played a couple of simulators and this was like very responsive, especially the hydraulics and stuff, the motion and stuff was really, really on point.
Make you feel like you're really driving, it feels real.
It adds so much to the experience. It's just really, really cool.
It was pretty awesome.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.